the questions. The main idea was to do this on the TrackMania Meløy YouTube channel, but it seems like I need to verify that sort of live settings 24 hours before I actually do it. And I checked it essentially 24/7, or no, 24 seconds before trying this. So that's why I do it on my private YouTube channel that is basically a graveyard at the moment. I don't know when the last video was uploaded, maybe 2 months ago, and it was about disc golf, not about TrackMania. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I might be tuning in to this video or YouTube live. My name is Erik Oldal. I am the creator and founder and leader of TrackMania Meløy. TrackMania Meløy is the biggest esport event in the history of Norway, and it's also the biggest TrackMania tournament in the history of the game. The event will have a prize pool of $50,000 for the pro tournament, but also recently announced that I will have a streaming tournament for streamers, and also have a tournament for local youth. That's basically the main parts, and if you have any questions, feel free. Steph has asked, is it an online tournament? I guess the answer to that is no, but also yes, because the qualification to the pro tournament will take place online. Some players will be invited. So far we only have one player invited, that is called Junior. But there will be more players invited, but that won't be announced until May, maybe June. But the qualification will take place online. How many qualifications, if it's going to be 1 or 2, is still up for debate. I need to see what is best for myself and the people I work with. How far am I into planning? What's going on behind the scenes? I would say I'm pretty far into planning. The most important part is the budget itself. I believe only Serrator Cup has a higher budget than my cup in sort of production value. So that is the thing I focus most about now, to finalize all the deals. I know who I'm gonna work with locally to make sure that this is a success organization-wise, that the people who come here, the people who want to visit, can feel safe, can feel taken care of. If we go, when can we expect a date release? So the date seems to be a question many people ask about. I have a date in mind that is 99% sure, but I won't announce that date until I'm 100% sure. I have some meetings next week that I will finalize that date. So if you haven't heard the date before end of January, you will hear it pretty early in February. I know it's far from people to travel, so I want to make sure that the information is out there as soon as possible, but I also want to make sure that I don't run into any problems regarding, let's say, I say a date and then, we have a problem, we need to move the date, and then some people have booked a plane ticket. So I will make sure I'll make sure everything is 100% sure before I announce the date. But August is the month, and August is a holiday month for at least Norwegian people normally. Who would you consider a streamer for the streaming tournament? Anyone with Twitch partner? Well, basically anybody who, let's say, how should I phrase this? The streamers will, let's say if Carl Jr. is not invited, and he says he's one of the most watched TrackMania streamers, which is true, judging by his numbers, I'm not gonna allow a player like him in the streaming tournament, because the streaming tournament is for people that cannot have a chance in the pro tournament. I don't want anybody to just come in there and smurf. At the same time, then it won't be allowed to play both tournaments. I saw Virtual making a joke that he's gonna win the pro tournament, the streaming tournament, and the young tournament, but that is not gonna happen. How many spots are there for pro tournament? 16 players will take part in the pro tournament. Can I reserve Flint a spot? Let's see what we can make out behind the scenes. Maybe some deals can be made in return from some content, but for now the only thing I think about is reserving spots for players and staff and everybody that's surrounding that. 1 or 2 qualifiers, that is something I answered. I don't know what my final choice will be, so I won't say any hard 1 or 2 qualifiers. It's also depending on what suggestions I get from the people that is going to help me, because I'm not going to run the qualifiers myself. There will be, so the Saturday and Sunday will be in a venue. It's the biggest venue we have in Meløy. That might sound big, but it's room for like 700 people. It's a handball court, and the main part of the matches will be played on stage. So if you come here, I'll try to give you as much TrackMania experience as possible, and yeah. That also includes the Young Tournament will be on stage, or the final of the Young Tournament, the Streamer Tournament, and of course the main matches for the Pro Tournament. Of course, that is the main tournament itself. How many tickets? Not 100% sure. People say around 700 people can fit into the hall, so 700 tickets is what I aim for, but let's see. Not something I've 100% finalized. Casting, the casters will be on stage or near stage, so people who attend the event in person will get to see the casters, maybe get to talk to the casters after it's over, and also, of course, the people at home will have cameras that shows the casters once it's not our live round, once it's time to hype it up. So the casters who is casting will be in Meløy as well. Around what time will the qualification or qualifiers be played? That's also something I haven't finalized yet. So basically what I don't have finalized, I'm not gonna give the answer to. Even though I have a pretty set date in mind, I won't in the danger of moving that around. But what I can say is that my tournament has the goal of creating life in TrackMania and not destroying life. So I will talk to Curator, I will talk to SoftDB to see what they have in mind, and then see what is most suitable for my tournament. So people who wants to play all tournaments like Carl Jr. can play all tournaments without feeling that they had to sacrifice one tournament. How did you convince the companies to give you 50k? 50k is the prize pool. The budget is pretty much bigger than that because production cost and things like that. But what I have said to the partners, that is mainly for the moment locally, also soon some national companies and maybe some international companies announced, is that this tournament is important for this area. Because we are a town of 2,000 people, a municipality of 6,000 people, we are fewer and fewer for each year that goes. More people move to the big cities and enjoy the life there. So I basically said if we do this, we might attract young people to Meløy. We might show the whole world what is possible to do here. The tourist activity will increase. The people who visit Meløy, that want to check out Meløy and want to check out the area around it, will increase. And it will be more fun for young people to grow up here. So convincing partners and companies is not that hard. They are really supportive in Meløy and support at least me, and I assume that goes for other people as well. You can ask the questions about the Patreon Q&A. I haven't had time to answer them, so feel free. Do you still need a custom game mode? That's not something I can answer. The game mode that is going to be used is likely 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1, but in what order or in what way, I don't know. COVID measures is not taking into account when I say 700. 700 is a max capacity once no restrictions. To sort of predict what the measurements is once August is here regarding COVID, I cannot do that. So I will have a plan A, that is no restrictions, and then of course we'll have a plan B and plan C. So that also is something I suggest everybody who wants to visit should have. If you are traveling far and using a lot of money on plane tickets, accommodations for sleeping, etc., you should see if there is a way to secure that if the public part of the event has to be cancelled because of Norwegian laws, then you need to have a way of getting your ticket back or your money back in some way at least, so you don't end up spending a lot of money and then the COVID situation fucks everybody over. Anybody can participate to qualify. Of course, I won't stop anybody to participate in the online qualifier. Single qualifier date? No, I have answered this before, but what I will say is that I don't know if it's gonna be 1 or 2 qualifiers. That is not something I will have the final word, or I will have the final word, but I will listen to someone else before essentially saying what's best. What is the price for a night in a local hotel, and how big is the hotel capacity? Let's say 75 euros for a night in a hotel. I have not checked myself, but around that. And the local capacity, well, we are a town of 2,000 people. We are an area of 6,000 people. So I don't even want to bet, but it's not suitable for 700. 700 people cannot sleep in the hotels. That's for sure. But I will have something in. I'll have something for the people visiting. So at least you have a roof to sleep under and a warm and safe place to sleep. I assume the hotels will be booked anyway because of the tourist season. How would the pandemic and government responses affect the tournament? Let's say if the players / in-person spectators are vaccinated or not, or if there's spiking cases, another lockdown, of course. That's not something I can control. I can take the measurements I can, both regarding the deals I made that I won't be financially responsible for all of the budget to the people that is hired for this, so I don't go personally bankrupt. But what I can say is that I feel like the only thing that I think is risky is if I'm going to be allowed to have 700 spectators in the venue. I do think the streamer tournament and the pro tournament and then of course the local tournament as well can go ahead, and of course then be streamed out to the main audience that is online. All the tourist activities they will be allowed to do, unless there is a... The only thing that can stop me is if Norway say nobody from outside of Norway can come in. That is the thing I think can stop me, but I don't see that happening. Or likely to happen, but who knows. Mime, yeah, I saw your question on Twitter. I can answer that, and I will go to Twitter afterwards once the chat slows down a bit. I also need to watch... it's 21:20 already. I have a radio interview at 22, so I need to leave at 21:45. Please help me to check that I leave before that. But Mime, what style will the maps be, and when should we expect a release of the map pack? My event wants to build under the competitive scene of TrackMania, and then I think it's stupid to do something else than mix map. What type of mix map is something I don't know to what extent. But I think that is the main competitive style in TrackMania. That is the style I personally like to watch the most. If it will include identities, not likely. But it's not something I'm an expert on, so I will listen to experts, and experts here are mappers and also players. So people can suggest things, and that is something I want to say again, repeat myself. If you have a suggestion for this tournament, what can make this tournament better, what I should think about, what you want to see, my DMs are open 24/7. I answer all of them, or at least try to answer them. I think I have a 99% ratio of answering, and the few I haven't is either spam or just something I forget. Will there be any smaller events organized outside of the tournament to get to know the local area better? I don't know if you know something, but there is something coming up in February, maybe March, that is gonna at least help the local young people to experience TrackMania. Because you guys know TrackMania. I don't need to teach you TrackMania. I don't need you guys to get hyped for TrackMania Meløy. If you're not hyped for TrackMania Meløy, then what are you even doing? This is a ridiculous big tournament in terms of cash prize, in terms of publicity, and in terms of the format around the tournament itself. But there will be tournaments for the local young people, so they actually know TrackMania. I have been around in some schools talking about it, and the first thing I asked, what do you know about TrackMania Meløy? They don't know much. They don't know what TrackMania is. So I have a job to do to teach the young people here what TrackMania really is. Is there a camping nearby? There is campings nearby, and depends on what you also mean by nearby. Because for me, nearby is 10 kilometers, but also nearby for me is 40 kilometers. So what I would recommend is that if you come here, save some budget for renting a car. Because if you visit Northern Norway and don't rent a car or have something to check out the area yourself, you will miss out on the main part of your experience. Because the local communication with buses, boats, not the best. Again, because we are 6,000 people, so it's not that many people using the bus, so therefore it's not that many buses going each day. But you can come here by bus. I saw some people answer or asking if there will be a guide, and yes, I will help people both on the website I put up, but also if people want to contact, then there will be people, likely at least, helping you out with answering questions pretty fast. But for people here, the 20 people ish, go to Oslo by plane. Take a plane from Oslo, that is the capital of Norway, to Bodø, and then Bodø you can take a boat or a bus to Ørnes. So not that many different stops or stages, but it will take a while because, again, not too many buses go each day. Listen to players, what is this? Well, I mean, the community person of the year 3 times in a row needs to live up to that name. And I will listen to the players, at least to some extent. It's of course impossible to listen to everybody because 16 players will have 16 different, or to some extent, different opinions. Have you been in contact with Nadeo for goodies and stuff that is popular at local events? No, I have not regarding that, but I have been in contact with Nadeo to make sure everything is okay for me to use, and they are behind this tournament and wish me the best of luck. The guy I've been in contact with is Softy. Any events in the week prior to see the local nature, like guided hikes around the local area? I don't know if that is what I have in mind, but I will of course promote this event like a mental guy once I get closer to the event. I will use my whole summer to promote this event and what is possible to do here. That also includes tourist activities like hiking. We have a lot of mountains that is suitable for everybody. You can have a really tough mountain to hike, but you can also have something that children can walk up. But any events, I don't think events is planned, but promotion is planned. I don't know if that's the same thing or what you meant. Gonna bring my own boat. Well, if you bring your own boat, you can probably earn some money by bringing all the other TrackMania fans around. Just ask them to pay you something, and they likely will. You can 100% see the Northern Lights in Meløy, but not in August. If you can see outside, it's dark because we just finished the dark season. That means we had 24 hours of no sunlight. We didn't see the sun. We had 2 hours of daylight, and then 22 hours of pitch black. But in the summer, in August, the prettiest month of Northern Norway, you will have 24 hours of sun. So you can see the sun at midnight, at 2 a.m., at 8 a.m., at 1 p.m., etc. So if it's sunny, you will see the sun all the time. But again, Northern Norway is above the Arctic Circle, so if it's going to be a rainy summer, you're going to experience rain. That's not something I can control. But what I can say is that no matter what, it will be an experience that you will likely remember for the rest of your life, even though it's a pretty summer or a rainy summer. TM yacht, yeah, sure. Oh, yacht. Sure, bring it. I might try to fix your spot in the harbor. Because that's the good thing about being in a small place. I know everybody I need to know. I know who to contact to fix this. I know the guy to contact for this. If you go to a bigger city, you need to look around for, okay, who's the guy in charge of this? Who is the guy in charge of that? Here, it's one phone call and you have the right guy. And again, people here are really helpful. They want to help me with the event. They are truly behind the event. They say that this is something they are behind, even though they don't understand what, first of all, TrackMania is, but also what esport is. They are just happy that something is happening for the local young people in this area. And that is the whole foundation. You might joke around and say I'm the community person in TrackMania, and I truly do this because I love TrackMania, I love the TrackMania community. I want to give the TrackMania players in particular a good experience, an experience that nobody else can come close to if they visit Norway at the moment, because the tourist activities and the tourist experience I have stacked up for the players is sort of the bucket list of things you want to do in Norway if you're a tourist. And if you want to do that yourself, first of all, you cannot likely not be able to do it because of the time schedule and how hard it is to book stuff, and also because it's expensive to do stuff in Norway, because Norway is an expensive country to live in, and then the people who live here need to take a good price for what they do. So I don't want to talk Norway down, but don't be surprised that it's expensive, and try to maybe do stuff like hiking that is for free, like renting a car. Of course, renting a car has some expenses, but driving around will give you an equal good opportunity, like booking a guided trip with a boat or something. So have a budget if you come here, but also if you have a small budget, if you're a student that just want to see the tournament itself, then of course that's also possible. Feel free to ask me some questions. I have 15 minutes left, then I will jump into a radio interview to talk about TrackMania Meløy. Let's see if I can go to why will it be the biggest event ever in TrackMania. Because of the prize pool. That is what I'm gonna say for now. The prize pool is $50,000 for those who once missed it, and the record for the biggest prize pool is $42,000 from 2006. So once the time comes, we are gonna beat a 16 a year-old record in TrackMania, right? Yes. So it's something that needs to happen in TrackMania for the esports scene to move forward. That at least we get somewhat of a decent prize pool in the game, and hopefully other events will try to beat my record, because then I'm gonna come back and beat it again. Any info on the venue? The venue is called Ernest Harlem. Good luck writing it. It's likely 700 people that is gonna be in there. It's gonna be a big screen, a big stage, with light, with commentators, with cameras, etc. Would be cool to have a coaching event where us normal players can meet and get tips and tricks from the pros. What I'm gonna say is that this event, like I've said, is to give back to the local community, to give the young people here an experience that they will remember for the rest of their life, that they will see that, okay, even though I grew up in a town of 2,000 people or on an island with 100 people, I can and I had experienced something that people in the big cities couldn't experience. So the players I invite, the streamers I invite, or let's say the guys who are qualified here, they will be asked if they are open to do a sort of presentation or a Q&A to talk to the young people about how is it to be an esport player, how much training is behind what you are going to do on a Saturday and Sunday. How easy is it to be big on Twitch? How easy is it to be big on YouTube? Because this is what the kids today dream of. And the kids I talk to, they want to be an esport player equally as much as they want to be a football player. They want to be big on YouTube as much as they want to be a singer or a comedian. So to give them the opportunity to hear from people who have succeeded is an experience that they likely couldn't have gotten anywhere else, at least to this extent, because the benefit of being so small and so few people is that if you want your voice heard, if a kid has a question, that chance of his question getting asked is much higher than if he was at an event in Paris where it's 10,000 people trying to answer a question to Carl Jr., for example. Thanks for the kind words, Masa. It really means a lot. How early did I start talking with the tournament with Carl Jr.? I don't know, actually. For the people that have followed my Twitter and was able to see some of the tweets between my 7,000 other tweets, is that I believe in February I started to tease about me having a big idea. And that idea was TrackMania Meløy. I started talking to the local politicians, the local industries, companies, and also Bodø 2024 or Bodø 2024, that is the European capital of culture in 2024. And once they said yes and said that they are positive, I'm like, okay, let's go. But once I asked Carl Jr., I don't know. It was a while before the announcement in October, because I wanted to see what his thought was, if this was something he think could be possible, and if this is something he would feel okay with being invited to. Do you think this event can eventually become an annual thing? So the goal I had once it was February of 2021 was to do this event one time. And the reason for it was to show the local community, and again the local young people, that it is possible to do incredible, cool things, even though we are from a small place above the Arctic Circle. We can have the biggest esport event in Norwegian history, even though we are 2,000 people. We can promote Northern Norway to the whole world. And again, to show the TrackMania events that why are not anybody else bringing in a prize pool that is matchable for this. So the idea was to do it one time, but the people who are advising me and helping me set up the business model to make sure that this event runs smooth, that we have all the financial stuff in place, all the legal stuff in place. They are saying, why should you do it one time? Because the first time is the hardest time. Once you have shown the world what you are capable of doing, essentially, and to some extent as a one-man army, why stop there? Why not see how big you can make this in the future? So now I will try my hardest to see if this is something I can do annually. Maybe not every year in Meløy, maybe move this tournament a bit around, but for now that is not something I really are thinking about, or at least not working against specific dates for 2023, 2024. But that is a motivation part in the back of my mind to do the event in August 2022 as a success, because if this is a success, I don't know what the consequences for myself will be, but I know that those consequences is something I want to experience and want to have. So I work pretty much every day, every hour, also on this tournament. I work 8 hours a day in the local newspaper. I also try to work 4 to 6 hours a day in average on this tournament, and then combine it with, of course, other stuff. So I'm working a lot because I want to see how far this event can take me. Thanks for the kind message, DKDL ZL. I also hope it will do wonders for the TrackMania esports scene. It's time that TrackMania becomes to some extent mainstream. It's a good question, Johan. Any plans on a conference area next to the venue with sponsors, influencers / streamers that could show off stuff, host events? There will be a building next to Ørneshallen. Ørneshallen is the venue where the tournament is taking place, and a venue next to it will have stuff to do for kids, for people who want to maybe find out about Norway if you're visiting from outside Norway. Yeah, it will not only be the TrackMania tournament in the weekend. Would you do paid promotion on social media? Not something I've thought about. I think this event, once we get closer, will promote itself. At what point would the event be considered a success? The event will be considered a success if it reaches the goal I have set for it. And the goals are, again, the foundation in this is to show that it's possible to do stuff. If it's a success, that means it runs smoothly, the players are happy, the spectators are happy, the people who attended the event as a partner or as someone who is hired to do the job, if they are happy, then it's a success. If you want to take it to the next step on what can make it a success, is that, do I earn some money from this? Do I get some money back from essentially working, what will that be, 18 to 20 months on an event, pretty much day in and day out, to make sure that everything is taken care of? For now, I'm happy if I break even. I know I take a huge risk financially. I'm not a rich guy myself, so I will see what the payout will be also financially, if this is something I can say, okay, let's see, let's do this my full-time job. Or if I need to see that, okay, at the moment it's not something that is secure enough to go 100% in on, let's keep the other 7 jobs I have to make sure I have an income in life. Thanks for the kind message, Flink. Okay, 4 minutes left and then I need to leave. I had some questions on Twitter, right? I post too many tweets to actually find. Okay, here we go. Will I do interviews? It's from Baltic Vikings. Yeah, let me fix the video. Thanks for telling me. Here we go. Baltic Vikings asked on Twitter, will I do interviews with the players during the tournament? For those who don't know, how I got famous in TrackMania is because doing interviews, because I'm the only guy doing interviews, so it's not hard to be famous for doing that, but I won't do the types of interviews I do at other events in my own event, because I'm gonna be too busy doing that. So hopefully there will be a lot of other journalists doing that, either mainstream journalists, local journalists, or maybe someone from the TrackMania community. Baltic Vikings also asked any news about the local tournament. Yes, it's gonna be local people, local young people from the age of 13 to 16. There will also be prizes for the local young event. Do you have any ideas of what the price will be for the tickets? Yes. But it's not something I will say. Well, what I can say, to not scare you guys off, that is not from Europe, or not from Norway, sorry, is that the prices won't be high for the tickets. Because I know the people who visit here are likely young people, either in the start of their working life or still students, and don't have too much money, and already will use a lot of money coming here. I also know that the young people who I aim for this tournament, kids and teenagers, also don't have a lot of money. So to the extent I can say it, the income from their revenue is not something that can make or break my tournament. So it won't be expensive. Final price I won't say, because again, what I don't have 100% set in stone is not something I will say a hard answer to, because then you can just rewind this Q&A. And my camera froze again. But yeah, let's skip the camera. Remove that. So I won't be in charge of the technical stuff, as you can see. Okay, 1 minute until I should leave. Let's do 6 more minutes. I can be... Yeah, thanks for telling me. Let's say 21:50. I need to be there at 22. It's a 5-minute drive, and I like to be early to the interviews I'm going to do in case they want to give me a prep. So 21:50. Let's do that. Regarding the price, I don't know. Nobody has asked specifically about the tickets, but what I can say is, yes, I said 700 people likely to attend the event, but there won't be 700 tickets released to the international public or the open market. I will have a set amount of tickets, what do you call it, reserved to the local young people, because I don't want them to compete with the international market and then feel like, oh, I missed out, the ticket was sold out in 4 minutes, I then miss the biggest thing that has happened in Norway, and it was in my hometown. So there will be a set amount of tickets that is reserved for the local young people, because again, that is the main reason why I do this. People from Germany, people from France, people from the rest of Europe can to some extent see another esport event elsewhere, but these young people need to travel at least 1500 kilometers to watch something like this. Somebody asked why Meløy. Well, I'm born and raised in Meløy. I'm born and raised 500 meters away from the venue itself. I saw the venue that is now going to host the biggest TrackMania tournament of the history. Every day I grew up. I biked passed the venue, every day I visited school, and every day I left school. So this is a venue that is close to my heart, that has of course given me good memories in my childhood, and then I want to use that venue to give other young people a nice memory from their childhood. Nick has asked general information regarding accommodation. Yes, all of this will be available. It should be as easy as possible to get here. I know most people are not used to having so many stages from, let's say, you need to travel from Paris. And it's Paris, Oslo, Oslo, Bodø, Bodø, Ørnes. Normally, people might expect to, if you go to from one airport to the other, you are at the place you need to be. But here you need to do more stages. The dates will be announced either late January or early February. Who will stream the event? Not something I can say. And the casting, I can say it will be a casting booth. It will be professional, a professional feel to the casting. Like they have their own desk, they have their own camera, and again, just feeling good. Any last minute questions? If not, I'm gonna run or drive to the radio to talk again for 1 to 2 hours about TrackMania Meløy. But what I can say as an ending quote here is that I have said to the local people here and the local community that this is something the TrackMania community really looks forward to, because that is the impression I have gotten, that this is something you guys are excited about. So feel free to share all social media posts. Maybe if you are not following the Facebook page yet, go there and follow it, because the main audience from Meløy is on Facebook. They are not on Twitter like the most TrackMania people are. So feel free to share it and tell people that you look forward to it, so I don't look like an idiot saying that the TrackMania community wants to visit TrackMania Meløy and they see nobody else saying that, essentially just 80 cooldown. The tickets will be on sale. Oh, that is a different question than when the tickets will be, or the date will be announced. I don't know. This is something I need to talk with in the meeting, and that I'm essentially not in charge of selling the tickets. I'm just everything I can give to other people, I give to other people. I know I'm gonna be too busy myself, so I will hear their suggestions, what they think is the best to attract the correct audience, so it's not too early so the people who bought the tickets forget, and it's not too late so the people who wanna make sure they have time, it's too late for them. So I will see what they say, and then of course I will announce it as soon as I know it. Yeah, that's it. Now I need to run. Thank you so much for asking the questions. It really is fun to talk to the TrackMania community. I try to do it as much as possible, but I hope you understand that because I do this event, I don't have time for what I've done in the past in TrackMania, like doing 100 to 200 interviews every year, a podcast for 3 hours. I wish I had time for that, but I sadly have to prioritize my time as well, and then I prioritize this event over the other stuff, because now I feel like I've showed people that you can do interviews in TrackMania, you will be appreciated for doing that, so somebody else should step up and do this. And now I will go to my next chapter of TrackMania, that is hosting TrackMania Meløy, to show the world and to show people that you can host events in TrackMania with big sponsors that will get mainstream attention. So I try to do what other people are not doing in TrackMania and show that it's possible. And once I think I've showed it's possible, then I go to something else I think needs help. So yeah, that's it.